15 seconds left. Brunson takes a peek at the clock. Thompson digging in defensively. 8 seconds. Brunson stops on a dime. Launches. Oh, yeah! Jalen Brunson buries it. Knicks lead by 3. The Brunson burner ignited.
Oh, what a steal by Bridges.
Bridges. In a congested corner, he somehow dug it out. Inside Anunoby, the cut, and the jam, and the foul. It's off to Brown. Bridges there. They hold it. They grapple. It's over. The Knicks have won. What a comeback and a Game 1 win for New York.
They're going to go. They're not going to use the timeout. Plenty of time here.
It's Tatum. Robinson's on him. Tatum maneuvering. Oh, the ball knocked away. Another great defensive play for the Knicks. They've got it. They've won it. New York has gone up 2 games to none.
This is Rafique Louison, and you are tuning in to Nothing But That Sports Talk.
Oh, yeah, we back again with another episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk. I'm Rafique Louison alongside Ryan Walker. How you doing?
Good, can't complain. Wavy walk in the building. Can't complain. Good to be back. We've been busy for a while. We've been trying to catch each other. We good now.
Yeah, exactly. And unless you obviously seen it. You see what I've been doing. I kind of went over with you off the air, but yeah, this has been a lot going on. But let's just talk about what you've been up to ever since the last time you were on the show.
Oh man, yeah, it's been so hectic. Doing crunch time basketball with my guys over there, finishing up the winter league. So the weekday games, what's great. Still doing work with Takeover. He's got his Pro-Am league again and 16 and under high school league going on as well too. With games, as a matter of fact, games tomorrow. So we're doing stuff with that, and I did the 20 Presents thing. Shout out to my man Maurice Richardson and 20 Hoops, where he has the high school event with kids from the city in Long Island to show out in different showcase. Shout out to my man Rashad with the Initiated. He had the women's game as well too, which was a good showcase. And if God gives us breath, 365 days, we'll be back to do it again. And it was that was an event that was big, and we did. And on top of that, and there was so much different stuff that was coming up week by week. I'm forgetting everything.
Yeah,
off the top of my head, but I was doing a few stuff with
yeah, I also 20 Hoops.
Yeah, right. 20 Hoops event was really really cool, and it's just been a lot of back and forth work, man. Day by day, I didn't even get a chance to go out to No Sleep to Brooklyn. My man, Coach Blue, who will be eventually at Epic South on that staff as well too. He's got his league going on, and he's got some good players down there. So I think the regular season playoffs is coming up like next week. On top of some of it, going into end very soon. So I'm gonna try my best so bad to get out there to get. I've just been so busy after work coming back. So it's just been a lot of work. We might take a trip to Grenada next month for on deck Sports Unlimited. I'm not sure if it's for basketball or for soccer, but that we're working on those logistics now too. And there's just a lot of future things coming up. So like honestly, the next few weekends, next weekend we're gonna be doing like a workout event. It's gonna be in the Bronx. Me and Prime are gonna drive down and live stream, and then he's got the one-on-one thing. Well, my man, pardon me, Island Work, and my man White, the president, Maybach, the president. You can follow him on Instagram, White. They got their the one-on-one session, 2-on-2 session going on at Huntington next Sunday. So we'll be out there for that to live stream. So, but I got a couple like light weekends until June 7th hits, and yeah, I got so many leagues that I'm in. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And as you kind of see, and I can kind of see you've been like literally all over the place. I see Crunch Time an in-person game, and yeah, Pro-Am basketball. I mean, there's always room to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally always room to grow. And as you kind of see, I've been kind of doing some play by, for those of you that listen to WSG radio, I've been kind of like doing some commentary for baseball and then also hosting some shows, does some board operator for some shows. Shows don't work for them, but those who work for their school's TV station, and a bunch of other, and I've worked on a bunch of other stuff. As you can tell, things get a little intense when you get a workload outside nothing but that sports stuff. But I finally got some time to get back to doing it after like literally a month off. Just yesterday I had a chance to like witness Sue Bird being named the managing editor for Women's USA basketball team. That's pretty interesting. And she's talking about how thrilling it was to actually get that done. And it was just so much to talk about. Noah Eagle, the broadcaster or play-by-play commentator for NBC Sports, he interviewed her. It was just a little brief discussion, pretty much congratulating her. That's pretty much what it is. And obviously the B was out there in Nike headquarters. It was, by the way. So I managed to make that happen. And now it's like literally the first interview I've done, returning to Nothing But the Sports Talk. My show, my platform that I've literally spent 5 years building from the ground up. Now I'm back into it, and I have some time to focus on that with WBA season coming up and the NBA playoffs really coming in hot.
Yeah, absolutely. Basketball is it's crazy right now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and I told you I got another thing. I don't want to talk about it too much till it's concrete, but we might have a ladies' league going out here. Samantha Farah that used to play for Comac, and I told you went to Ohio State a few years in the WNBA. Her and her assistant coach on the AAU team, Alicia, who used to still does work with the ABA Stingrays. They are working on a form of a women's, middle school, high school type of invitational of some realms. And, they gave me the call, and once everything gets, finalized, they're getting sponsored, everything's a bunch of stuff. That'll be something in the works too. So it's good for the women's game. Give me an eye and a better, even more tuned for the middle school and high school circuit of games, especially for New York and Long Island, of what's going on in the girls circuit. And my guy Rashad's got the lane too now with the initiated. I hope you follow him on Instagram because he does a lot of the women's work of what we did out here in this whole thing. So I know you do. You're into it a lot too. So that's a good lane just to watch and get players. Even on your own. Research. I always pay attention to other people's work because that's how you learn.
Yeah, that's how you learn to grow, especially for somebody that's back in this business. And yeah, this is one thing I learned in life is that I gotta be humble and be mindful of my experience, and not try to rub it in because other people. Because remember, when you team up with people that are still in learning curve when it comes to the media industry, it's something that I have to be mindful of because it's literally adjustment compared to when you like literally just picked up a camera and started filming yesterday, or where I pick up a mic and start announcing yesterday. My only advice to you is try to stay humble and focus on the grind, Brian.
Oh, indeed.
Mm-hmm. And yeah. Now, on to the next topic. The NBA playoffs. This is something else. What more can you say? Just give a little rundown. The top seeds in both the Eastern and Western Conference obviously sweep their way through the first round. I mean, the Cavaliers sweeping the Miami Heat was inevitable. The Thunder sweeping the Memphis Grizzlies. Well, I was kind of hoping that at least Memphis win Game 3, but you know what? OKC was bound to get that series, so it wasn't too shocking that they came behind to win Game 3 and then eventually knocked them out in the tight Game 4. So that was too shocking. But yeah, what really stole the show for me was obviously LeBron James' Lakers going down the first round against the Minnesota Timberwolves. How do you let that happen? A year ago, Ant-Man defeated Jokic and Kevin Durant, and now you defeat LeBron James and Luka Doncic. So what's your take on the type of run the Minnesota Timberwolves are having?
Well, you're right about it's surprising, but it's not really surprising. And I'll tell you why with the Lakers. I'm a LeBron. I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm a LeBron. I like LeBron. I support LeBron. more of an advocate for a lot of times when people try to do the whole Mike LeBron conversation. I try to go to just say they're different, whatever the case may be. But nevertheless, the Lakers weren't that good. And after the trade, after the trade deadline, and I don't say they were terrible. I mean, come on, of course, mathematically, they were the third seed in the Western Conference. So clearly, they had something. But the first part of the seasons with LeBron and AD, he was staying healthy. He was managing to stay healthy from last season, even going into the season now. And with him staying healthy, they had wins earlier in the season. They were trying in that pack. They were like 6-ish to 3-ish because the numbers are so always close to those pack. 7-ish to 3-ish or whatever. And the trade came in retrospect. It hurt both teams in the short term. I know this much for as long as they can maintain Luka's weight and body and making sure he's right as an athlete. For the future and selling tickets, Luka is the future for them. That's what they went and did this deal for, because they had an opportunity to try to stay in the mix in the West, even if AD was there. There's no guarantee that even if AD was there that they wouldn't have lost in the first round still. But at least the chemistry and cohesion of the first two players were different. Now you put these two different guys that are super dynamic players, one at the end of his career, but still plays really great for a guy at the end of his career, right? And one in his so-called prime, but not in the best of shape and coming off a little injury. At first, it was so electric. Once they first was healthy and played together, they were winning games because that's just talent on the court. Remember, that's regular season game to regular season game. So they got into a streak and got into that position. But the fact of the matter is, regardless of what the seed was, the Minnesota Timberwolves were a better team than the Lakers. And the Lakers didn't have enough size. They didn't. It's LeBron, Luka, and that's it. And then they play Jackson Hayes sometimes at center. They don't play the other guys too much with it. They didn't have that. They didn't have nothing. They rescinded the trade they had with what's the kid's name? That's supposed to go there from Charlotte, right? Was that Nick Richards or was that Mark Williams? Mark Williams was supposed to go there, right? Mark Williams. So they didn't have a big. Minnesota was better than them. Anthony Edwards is playing at the prime of his career. Gobert has some really good games, especially the last clinching out one. He had with 28 and 24, one game, 24 and 20. They have DiVincenzo who can shoot it. Conley is a savvy point guard. They have Naz Reid who can come off the bench and is a flamethrower. You have McDaniels, who's a really dynamic two-way player. So but both sides are kind of the semifinals is what's waking the world up. But here goes the reality: what people don't want to take into factor too. Even when you're the better seed in the semifinal rounds, even when you're the better seed, that doesn't mean that you still can't lose, because now once you get out the first round and you get to that second round, now everybody on your conference side is sort of even. You feel me? Some teams might sneak in there and be by accident like, oh no, this team they had a bye. They got in because these teams are injured. But for the most part, the teams all in the second round are all formidable teams. It's more surprising what's going on the Eastern Conference side on both sides, but it's just basketball.
Yeah, it's really just basketball, and not to mention the fact that it literally goes to show that basketball is more predictable than people realize. Because you have to remember, a few seasons ago, you had eight seed reach the NBA Finals, and being only the second 8 seed to reach the NBA Finals, and then
the Miami,
the Miami Heat. That's 2 years ago, and now,
damn, they were the 8 seed that year for real, bro. Damn, I forgot. Yeah, you're right. There was. Who they play? Was that
They defeated Milwaukee, they defeated the Knicks, they defeated the Celtics.
Yes.
The Finals and lost to the Denver Nuggets.
Damn, we should have never lost to them too.
Yeah, but you know what? That's in the past.
Oh, who did they lose? Oh, they lost to the Warriors.
No, nah, that year they lost to the Denver Nuggets.
Oh, it was the Nuggets who won that year. The Nuggets got their title. Okay, yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
that
yes.
that was when they had the championship, and then of course 2 years, and then of course last year, you had the Indiana Pacers, a fifth seed, reach the NBA
Yeah,
West Eastern Conference Finals, and Luka Doncic during his last playoff run with the Mavericks reached the NBA Finals.
yeah.
Boston just pretty much breezed their way through a championship, and yeah. Speaking of the Boston Celtics, man, who would have thought that when they lost all 4 regular season games against the Celtics? If I told you that the Knicks were going to come back from 20 points down to win the first 2 games against it and have a 2-0 lead, despite being the third seed in a 3-2 seed matchup between Knicks and Celtics, what would you have told me?
Let me tell you something first. I mean, both sides are surprising. I was we rooting for the Knicks regardless. In the first round, I definitely thought, even though how Detroit is really good, scrappy, and tough, they got some good players. Like I said, Durant and Ivy will be back, and Cunningham is a really, really good player, really amazing. A shorter gave them good play. They had Malik Beasley, second most 3-pointers made in the league. Tough, great. He can shoot the three. Will be making a lot of money soon. Where if he stays there, goes because he can definitely shoot the basketball. Second and sixth man of the year. They'll have Isaiah Stewart back as well. They're going to be a good team. They're well coached. But I knew we could get by them. We were phenomenal on the road, and we're still phenomenal on the road right now. To see, what I'm saying. I'm looking at the schedule and I'm like, I just put all our games on the road because for some reason they're, but that's not a joke per se, but it's the reality of it. With the Knicks now, here goes the thing, and I wish my guy Jay, I gotta send him this video, my guy Jay Red, because me and him have years of talking about series and everything. You know what I'm saying? He don't really got a team. He likes, certain good players or whatever, and go back and forth. But I can't tell you how many times certain teams might win matchups in the regular season, like dominate series, either 3-1 or 4-0 or 2-1 or 3-1. You know what I'm saying? And, all right. What was the regular season matchup between the Pistons and the Knicks this year?
The regular season matchups, the Knicks were 1-3 against the Pistons this year.
Correct. And they lost 2 games where at?
Madison Square Garden.
Correct. And they won 1 game in Detroit.
Actually, through the regular season, that 1 game was in Detroit.
Yeah, they played because they play. I remember they played 4 games. They played 2 games in the Garden and 2 games in Detroit. I remember the game when they won in Detroit, but I remember the 2 games where they lost in the Garden. Because they played them in like a 3-4 week span, something like that. And they beat us the other time, last time when we played them. I believe it was that one of the games at the end of the year. They beat us when it was down there. Now they beat us 3-1. What did that mean in the playoffs?
Nothing.
Everybody starts from 0-0, and the fact is that Detroit does have a young team. I don't want to create excuses or make people think that we always just picking up for the Knicks too big because this is the topic we're talking about. I'd always used to say it to you in football, and now you understand more what I say with it. And I
know what you're gonna. I know what you're getting at. It's not always about who you're playing. It's how good they're playing when you're playing them. I know what you're getting at.
It's not who you said it. It's not who you playing. It's how they playing the time when you play them. You can be in an NFL season and a team could start off 0-4, and then they could win 3 straight and then start feeling themselves. And then when you play them, they beat you. So somebody's gonna say, "Oh, you lost to the team that was 0-4." No, they just won 3 straight. You know what I'm saying? So it's also about the time of when you play them. Now, here goes the reality of the series between the Celtics and the Knicks. And we're going to give all the respect and love first. The Celtics are the NBA champions, okay? They're the defending champions. They won last year. Tatum is a phenomenal talent. He's gold medal Olympian and an NBA champion. Duke University, God bless him. Tatum Brown is a phenomenal talent. Phenomenal talent. And did he win Finals MVP?
No, it was Jaylen Brown that won Finals MVP.
That was Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP, right?
Right.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown, Finals MVP. Pritchard is a phenomenal player. Like from the six man, he can shoot the three. Porzingis, gives them so much versatility. Horford is still a savvy veteran. White can play two ways. Good player. They're well coached with Lee. They got a good team. They got guys that they can put in there. What's the Cornette? Cornette goes in there and plays very solid for them.
Pritchard,
Pritchard,
that
six
young
man,
dude
right?
off the bench.
Phenomenal. I mean, but here goes the reality. They're the champions. Now, their championship run last year, even though I'm saying they're the champions, was kind of watered down, right? Who they play in the first round last year in the playoffs? Was it
Miami Heat, no Jimmy Butler.
no Jimmy Butler, all hurt.
They won it. I mean, it only took them 5 games, even though they did lose some games at home during that run.
Right. Tyler Hero went silly one game.
Yeah,
that was it.
Then the next round, you played the Cavaliers. The one loss they had coming home as well.
Yeah, there was somebody on the Cavs. There was people on the Cavs not healthy in that series.
Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley. They've had injuries. Then you get to the conference finals, they sweep the Pacers. Tyrese Haliburton gets hurt in game 2.
Correct.
Then you get to the NBA finals, Mavericks, inexperienced outside of Kyrie Irving.
Clear bad matchup. You run through the finals, you win the chip. All right, you're the champions. I get it. You're champions. And I respect the guys on that team and the coach. We played them this year. We played them the first night of the season. The NBA made sure they scheduled the Knicks and the Celtics the first night of the season. You're talking about their championship banner night and their ring ceremony night. We got to play them on national TV. They blew the smokes out of us. Come on, like teams play well on your open and championship night, and boom, they got us with that. We played them another couple weeks
after that. You didn't play them again until February, and you lost both games in February. I mean, that one game in Boston, they did manage to cut it to like a 3-point deficit, something like that, when they were losing by as many as like 18 points. But unlike what we're seeing right now, the Knicks couldn't come back to winning. Then you have the last game of the season where the Knicks had an 11-point lead. All they had to do was stop Jason Tatum, and they couldn't stop him from tying the game, forcing overtime in the last regular season home game between the Knicks and Celtics. I thought to myself, if the Knicks could got at least one game against the top 3 teams in the NBA, that would make it more believable that we could beat the Boston Celtics. It wasn't believable at that point. Now it's believable because he come back from 20 points down to defeat them 2 nights in a row or 2 games in a row. You can't just dismiss the efforts. There's a reason why they gave away like all their picks to get Mikal Bridges, because of what he's producing right now in the postseason.
100%. Their team was built to do something in the postseason. That's how the team was built. Night to night, it's not gonna do. And then without saying, like I said, being unfair and biased. Remember, you did a whole different transformation of your team. You had Julius Randle there for years at power forward, who gave the Knicks great times. We might have had some bad times with him, but we had a lot of good times with him. And Julius did a lot of good things here as a Knick, right? They decided to do a trade. Karl-Anthony Towns comes over. Julius goes over there. Karl-Anthony Towns is a really, 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 really damn good, really, really good player. Okay, but he's a different style type of player than Julius Randle is. Julius Randle's more of a physical bruiser in the post, can score in the mid-range, very capable of making a 3, can dribble, drive, face up, left-handed strong, and more of a physical bruising presence on the defensive end. Okay, and got better with that too, is with Thibodeau. Carl's more of an offensive skill giant. He can face up, he can shoot the 3 from in limited range, in post up, face up. He of course he can rebound the basketball. He's not the greatest in every defensive thing, but when you do put him in a certain spot and he can just defend, he can make plays. He's actually making more plays defensively out now and rebounding a lot more with Mitchell Robinson there. Sometimes when they play both of them in the lineup, it's absolutely very scary. See, if teams wasn't so afraid when it comes to the last 5-6 minutes and be fouling Mitchell Robinson, they would be causing a lot more terror on people. But we always have to play that mix and match because they're going to start hacking Mitchell Robinson and putting him at the free throw line. But it was good to humble Celtics fans, especially the ones that live in New York. This one is for everybody that's a Celtics fan that lived in New York and lived there. It is despicable. I can't stop your choice, but it is despicable to live in New York and like the Boston Celtics. It just is. It's absolutely despicable. There's no place for it. And it's one thing when you got to deal. Like, I respect what they do in Massachusetts and Boston. They supposed to be Celtics fans. They supposed to. I get that. I could take that energy from them. Yeah, it is very humbling for them because they thought they was going to run through us and obliterate us and sweep us. And I get the Prog Nation why you should get to think that. Listen, y'all, what are they? 18-time world champions in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, 18 time. 18 with the Lakers.
18 times, tied with the most in history for the NBA for the Lakers. Historic, great franchises. They always make the right decisions. They had the Bill Russells. They had the Larry Birds. They had the Kevin McHale's. They had the Bill Lambiers. They had the Bill Waltons. They had the Dennis Johnson. They had the Bob Cousy's. They had the John Havliceks. They had the Paul Pierces, the Kevin Garnett's. They had the Antoine Walkers, the on and on and on and on. Steph played there. Kenny Anderson played there. You know what I mean? A lot of great things have happened there. Right, Rajon Rondo. You know what I'm saying? Ray Allen.
They have a strong championship pedigree throughout the years.
Antoine Walker. You know what I'm saying?
I can't dismiss that.
A lot of good. So I respect that, and I understand it. Yeah, they beat us bad 3 times in the regular season, and we had a game where we were up 11, and they still came back to win in a close game. So their mental capacity should be like, of course, we own these guys. But this is a different time of the year. And for some reason, like the Knicks just really surge and play well on the road. They really lock in. They won that first game, and then after the first game, everybody's like, with the fluke, don't worry about it. They're going to come back and win 4-1. The Knicks blew this league, going to do that by 20. And this team is really hot, and they're hungry. And they might mess around and turn into a buzzsaw. And I can't wait for tomorrow's game because they really need to win tomorrow's game. They go up 3-0. We know it's a wrap, and that will kill their self-esteem. That will kill the whole Boston self-esteem. They will not be able to sleep if they lose to the New York Knicks. If the New York Knicks advance out this round, every Boston fan is going to cheer for the Indiana Pacers. Or Cleveland Cavaliers, because and none of us are out of the series yet because it's still a series. But I'm saying if the Knicks do get past it, I promise you, it'll be the biggest hate and malice to the world because this is not supposed to happen for their eyes. We're fine.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, we're the ones pulled off shocking moments. Orange and blue skies.
Orange and blue skies, baby.
But yeah, let's not forget. You mentioned the Indiana Pacers. How about them beating up 2-0 against the Cavaliers? The Cavaliers team were. I mean, they were. This is the same Cavaliers team started off like 18 or 19 or something like that, and then they were cleaning up in the regular season like it was nothing. The Knicks couldn't beat them either. They lost all 4 games against them, but they're losing 2-0 to the Indiana Pacers off that clutch shot by Tyrese Halliburton. How do you explain Tyrese Halliburton missing the free throw, getting the rebound, launching the go-ahead 3, and knocking them out, putting them down 2-0? And now, a week later, we might be talking about 2 different Eastern Conference upsets, but it was a sweep or in 5 games, or even if they can take it to 6, it'll be in the favor of the New York Knicks because the Knicks the earliest the Knicks and the Pacers can go home is game 6.
Right.
On both ends. Which 2-0 start between Knicks and Pacers is more impressive?
Wow.
And before you answer, the road teams have literally dominated up until the Thunder blew out the Nuggets in Game 2, and then of course the Minnesota Timberwolves smoked the Golden State Warriors.
The Pacers are a 4 seed, right?
Yeah, they're 4 seed.
You know what? Let me tell you something, Rafiq. There is no the right answer for this is both.
I'm not gonna argue with you on that one. I'm thinking the same thing.
Because I mean, first things first. Let me tell you something that historically that I don't want to sound like a son of a gun. Okay, but look, just listen to me. LeBron James is one of the greatest players to ever play basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something, just in case you might not remember, but you probably remember. You can Google a little bit. The Cavs done had Mark Price, Terrell Brandon, Craig Elo, Brad Daugherty,
Oh, I was getting
Larry Nance. There's a lot of guys that I'm leaving out, but the Cavs had, I think Ron Harper played there once early in his career.
It calls Boozer played there at one time, I believe so.
Boozer. So they've had guys throughout the history. They've had guys, but they won one title in the history of their franchise, and that band had to come back there, and they had to win. It took 56 years, and they were down 3 games to 1. The first one to come back in the finals to do it and win it at home. Nobody else brought them to the finals like that. Not that I could think of. No. When was the first time the Cavs went to the finals? 2007?
Yes, 2007. That was with LeBron. All LeBron really had was Varejao, Dick, Boobie Gibson. Let's see. Let's see. Sasha Pavlovich.
Right. All right. Listen. Who am I to talk? The Knicks only won 2. The last time we won in 73. We ain't won in 700 years. I get it. The Cavs have one NBA title with this man that came there. One of the greatest things that ever. And all the good years, he had 1 year where they won. Yeah, give him a good Kyrie Irving, good team. Kevin Love, all the guys around him. Boom, 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 boom. Ever since that, no matter what, every time you think the Cavs are really good, something bad happens. A Jordan buzzer beater, here, and I didn't laugh this year because they are a really good team and they were healthy. Mobley is a stud. Mitchell is a stud. You know, he's from New York. He's a big time player. Garland's a big talent when he's healthy. Ty Jerome, New York, a big time player. They picked up DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre Hunter can play. You know, they're deep. This team is good. You know, they got talent. But how is it always historically they do something crazy? You know, Donovan Mitchell's going to have to really go crazy these next few games. And it's not like he don't have the capability. It's not like they don't have the team to do it. But see, now you're down 2-0 going to Indiana. And they got a pretty raucous crowd too. And they're playing with house money. Because, I mean, just like us, because I could say, well, yeah, Indiana stole a game because we stole 2 games too. If we won it, but we stole them, right? So, but the last one with the Pacers, no, that last game too, the Cavs blew that. You have to win that game. You can't. First of all, it was bad. It really was a lane violation. They did miss that, but
in that play with Tyrese Halliburton,
right? Yeah, that was a lane violation, but that's neither here nor there. Still, in essence, you got to get that rebound. You let him go out. He creates to go get a shot. It was just crazy. Indiana's thing was just amazing. Just like us, they're both surprising, and the stars could align where the 2 teams from the semifinals from last year, the 3 and 4 seed, possibly could be playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. We would have home court, thank God, and as long as we're healthy, I look forward to playing them.
Why not? We had to avenge that. I mean, we had to avenge that loss in the semifinals last year. We have to.
100%. But like you said, listen, the Cavs are not done. The Celtics are not done. Let's see what happens. I think we'll see what happens with the series. But you
got a point. A year ago, Carly Towns led Minnesota to a 2-0 lead against the Denver Nuggets, and the Nuggets at the very least dragged the series on to a Game 7. So,
only thing is that he didn't have Jalen Brunson last year.
But he had Ant-Man. But he had Ant-Man.
Yeah, but he didn't have Captain Clutch. Nobody got Captain Clutch.
Speaking of
Nobody got
Captain
the
Clutch,
clutchest player in the
you got to give
NBA.
credit due to Jalen Brunson, Clutch Player of the Year. Game winner to close out the Pistons is 6 games, and even with the limited amount of points he's had in the recent games, he's done enough to lead to a comeback. The same Jalen Brunson that many people counted out years ago when they get in that big contract, and I've got people that say he's not worth that money. Look at what he's doing right now with the New York Knicks. We have to give Jalen Brunson's flowers because he's
and
good
peep this too.
Because if you get those 2 games in the Garden or 2 games anywhere in the next 4, it gets to the conference finals like he did when he was with the Dallas Mavericks. You can't tell me nothing about Jalen Brunson anymore because you've been sleeping on him ever since he was in the Mavericks. And, well, yeah, the Mavericks, he was in the college finals with Luka Doncic. We can't just ignore that. He's literally the point guard that the New York Knicks have been striving for years. You couldn't get Stephen Curry because he was drafted to Golden State Warriors first. James Harden didn't want to be bothered with them. You couldn't get Tyrese Halliburton. You couldn't get Donovan Mitchell, but you had Jalen Brunson. They gave him the captain tag for a reason because of moments like that. This is a generational talent, at least from the Knicks' perspective.
Yeah.
His shooting ability, his crossover ability, his ability to find players inside the lane, that's something that will literally help the New York Knicks in this playoff run if this 2-0 lead leads to a playoff series win and knocking out the Celtics. Because, well, you obviously knew that Jalen Brunson was going to be this good of a player, but you had him going up 2-0 against the defending champion Boston Celtics.
No, I was happy. I would have been happy with the split. And, they went down there in the first game. They were gritty. They were tough. OG in the third quarter had a big time third quarter. He had a big time first game, and Brunson made big plays for them. Cat was there. Every day everybody did what they had to do. They battled back. They made some shots, and they find a way to get the game at the end in a big time defensive play by Mikal Bridges, which was amazing on Brown. And then the next game, it turned. Brunson wasn't shooting well, but he still was playing, and Towns had more of a presence. The bench kind of helped him. Deuce got in there, made a couple big shots, had a big dunk going in transition one time, and Bridges got hot, started making some shots, and Brunson got back into it, and the guys just made plays. Karl-Anthony Towns had a big tap in for and one. They took away a highlight play. OG embarrassed Pritchard.
Yeah, that was an offensive foul, but actually it was Kobe Wright that took the charge. But
Derek White.
Excuse me. I said Kobe Wright.
Lucky. He should have got dunked. That should have been a high. But anyway, it was the call was right. Right call was made, but they battled back. They made big shots. Bridges made big shots. He made a great defensive play at the end of the day. That was so smart. That takes a lot of intelligence, and you got to trust yourself and be guts because Robinson was guarded on the screen and roll, and Robinson does the best job you could do in the world for a big fella to keep him in front of him because it looked like he got by him first, but Robinson still was on his side. Tatum dribbled basically like he's dribbling into the heart of the defense. I don't know what play he was going to do. And OG just made sure he clogged up and sent a little bit of a double down too. So by the time you got to the baseline, it's like you got to put up a shot. And he took a little bit of extra time. And Bridges has to now be smart to leave Brown, who's a capable three-point shooter, but has the angle that where his back's where no matter what he does, even if he tries to pass it to him, he's not even going to be able to see or get a hand in that lane to pass to him, and especially not a good enough one without the next person be able to cut and deflect it off if it's not a direct pass. And he was just there to get the perfect pass, shot, block, and make the play. And I know they're super confident. They're riding high, and they believe because nobody, like, people expected the Knicks to win the Pistons series, but not even by a lot. There were a lot of people that picked the Detroit Pistons to win that series, believe it or not, and I don't blame them. Same, but after doing that, they're like, okay, yeah, y'all beat the Pistons. Y'all supposed to beat them. Okay, all right. Now it's like, oh, y'all playing the Celtics. Now what? All right, well, we're just gonna come out and fight and compete every night. You know what I'm saying? And we up 2-0, and we'll see what happens. I know New York is gonna be crazy tomorrow at 3:30 p.m.
Let me give you some stats. The Knicks are the first team to have back-to-back 20-point comeback wins in the postseason in years. Jalen Brunson has outscored the Celtics himself in four-quarter points and clutch points.
5-0 on the road so far.
Yeah, 5-0. But, yeah, you know what? The Giants had to be undefeated on the road to win a championship. Do you think, what would it mean if the New York Knicks were to win a championship this season?
Let me tell you
Would
something.
it be just as good as Liberty win the WNBA championship in 2024?
You come on, bro. You know that it's gonna mean even better. It's gonna be even better if the Knicks win this year or anytime soon. But if the Knicks win this year, I'm telling you, from out of all the Giants Super Bowl, the Jets in '69, the Mets had a great time in '86 and '88. Yankees have won the most championships and always been, a stamp for a model. The Liberty just winning, which was phenomenal. And you talk about all the different teams, Buffalo never won, but Buffalo had that 4-year run, you know what I'm saying? But from all the team championships ever, and Knicks 69 and 73, and those are great teams and great championships. We've never taken away from them, from Walcott Frazier and Willis Reed and Dave DeBusschere and Phil Jackson, Dick Barnett, you know what I'm saying, Earl the Pearl, you know what I'm saying, great teams, you know what I'm saying? Bill Bradley, Dave DeBusschere, but if they win this year, bro, it's going to be the greatest, probably the greatest championship in New York sports history. You know how long the fan base, how long we've been waiting. How about the generation before us and the generation before us? You know what I'm saying? There's a few brothers that remember the 73 championship. There's a lot of brothers that grew up around that time that don't remember the vividness of it, but grew up around that time that's still sitting there waiting. So it'd be great for this team to do it. And if they did that, that would be scary because that means their future is really bright. Let's go one game at a time and see how they, flow tomorrow.
Yeah, all we can do is take it one game at a time. Yeah, you mentioned New York Giants. Obviously, a couple weeks ago was the NFL draft, and the New York Giants managed to draft this guy, Jason Dirk. Not Shador Sanders, not Ken Ward, but Jason Dirk. And also Adele Carter. That's who usually Dirk pick. But to be fair, though, the Giants did need to improve on the offensive line, and the guy from Penn State could provide that. We think about the way the Giants handled themselves during the NFL draft.
Yeah, and you mean on the defensive line?
Defensive line.
Yeah. You know what? Listen. I don't know if it's going to work out, but at first I was kind of disappointed in the approach the Giants were taking because I was like, are we built to win now, or are we built to try to see if we can develop something to win a little bit in the future but still tread water? But unfortunately, the big owners, as much as they like Dayball and Shane, they basically put them on a hot seat where they got to show them a competitive brand at least in order to retain their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, they still have to build a team to win now in a dastardly division with the world champions Philadelphia Eagles, with the Washington Commanders, who are young and upcoming, with Mr. Daniels, who's an absolute stud, offensive rookie player of the year, right? And the Cowboys, who were below mediocre this season just passed, but they still were better than us. And I still believe still swept us. And they're actually on paper and how do I build it? Supposed to be talent-wise better than us. On top of two organizations, Philly and Dallas, who we haven't still mentally and physically figured out how to really beat over the last 6, 7 seasons, right? So I'm like, okay, they're going to build young. They weren't going to be able to get Cam Ward. Everybody wanted to get Cam Ward first. You'd have to trade up all the way to get it, but then once they noticed they wanted that, they wasn't listening to anybody's offers. They was going to get Cam Ward. Abdul Carter was actually the guy they were supposed to pre-draft months ago when they got the third pick, when everybody seen it, which was stupid because if they would have just lost the damn game, when I told them to lose the damn game was that the Colts they won to? That was the most dumbest win. They have to be the most. So they
But to be fair, as much as the Giants need a quarterback, the defense and offensive line had to improve as well because that was one of the reasons why they lost as much as they did.
So now you got Kayvon Thibodeau, you got Dexter Lawrence, right? You're gonna have what's the guy they acquired? Brian Burns, and now you have this kid Abdul Carter. You know what I'm saying? And you have a decent linebacker core. You got one of your linebackers that recorded over 100 tackles. You still have Simmons. You have a decent core there. You build so you got a corner. Now, here goes the thing with the quarterback. And I'll say just give him time. He's a good player, still a project, but he's a good player. And we also have to remember he went to Ole Miss, which is in the SEC, the toughest football conference in college football is the SEC, right? Right? Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Ole Miss. He played Georgia this year. He beat Georgia. I'm just saying he played Alabama. So he's not afraid of the big scene. He's been there, and on top of that, he's coming from a little bit of a pro style offense. So now they just have to, of course, matriculate that brain to the NFL. But here goes the thing. No matter who they drafted, whether it would have been Shador, which many teams might have been mistaken of, or whoever else, if you thought it was a talent, none of the quarterback was going to play right away because you just went and acquired Russell Wilson on top of Jameis Winston, right? So where are they going to play?
It depends how well the quarterbacks do during the preseason.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
It depends because, I mean, you got Russell Wilson, a proven Super Bowl champion. We're not going to talk about how he lost the Super Bowl after. You have James Winston, who at most plays the playoff games, and Tommy DeVito, sit down.
Oh,
now you have Jason Dirk. I mean, yeah,
Bro.
it depends. I don't want to say give a definite answer right now, but you have to evaluate the quarterbacks when you train them during training camp and preseason.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. But I'm going to tell you what is going to happen, whether you want to believe it or not.
What?
And then I want you to look on that little computer screen right there where you have all that knowledge to get the knowledge for this. Russell Wilson's going to be a starting quarterback. Unless Russell Wilson comes into the camp, 422 pounds, eating a hot dog on the field every single day at camp, he's going to be the starting quarterback. And I'm going to tell you why. Because economically, even though you got other people paying most of his money from his deal, but economically, what they paid and what they had to do to acquire him, he's your starting quarterback. At least minimum.
I wouldn't be mad about that.
So, like you said, at least I'm pretty sure going into camp, and Dabo's got to say that because it's not like they've been good. Jameis Winston is an NFL quarterback. Here goes the thing. Let me go into the positives first. He has thrown for 4,000 yards in a season. Mm-hmm. Yes, he has. He has thrown for 25 plus touchdowns in a season. Yes, he has. He has a gun of an arm. He's a little bit mobile as well too. He can make a couple plays athletically on his feet. He's been in the league. He can perform. We've seen it before. However, he's a turnover machine. He throws a lot of interceptions as well too. Sometimes he struggles a lot of times in certain situations, in coverages and so on and so forth. So he hasn't done anything off right to demand to get to say he's going to be guaranteed the starting job over Russell Wilson. Now you're right. They're still going to compete in camp. I get it, but I guarantee you going into camp, Russell Wilson is the leading candidate to be the starting quarterback.
I wouldn't be mad about that. I mean,
If he starts now and he does well, they're going to start him the rest of the year. If he starts and he struggles or anything like that, then you'll consider about putting Jameis Winston in because he does have a gun and maybe give them a change of pace. You will see. But if he starts and he gets injured, then you know Jameis Winston is definitely going to be the next play. And now Jets' the thing is to learn how to be a quarterback around them during this time in preseason, in practice, regular season, on the sideline, and still working on everything and learn the offense like the back of your hand. So God forbid, when you get your opportunity, you'll be able to perform. So that's what the Giants motto is. I'm gonna go 7-9. No, 7-10. That's what I like. 7-10.
Ideal, right? They weren't even close to that last year. So
yeah, and that's a lot.
That would be fair. I'll tell you this much: the quarterback situation better be more handful than the Jets quarterback situation because with Aaron Rodgers not wanting to come out to the Jets after one bad season, who you suggested? Justin Fields, who thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, I it's so crazy. I'm not a Jets fan, but I support what they do. I'm going to my people's a Jets fan. I like Canfield. I like him over there. I like Justin Fields. First of all, he's gonna do things that Jets fans and Jets Nation gonna love him because he's a super athlete. He's super mobile. He can run and create plays out the pocket, and that's gonna open up so much things because the Jets actually do have receivers, right? He actually has a very strong arm. I'm saying, and can make plays in the pocket. But the problem is that his years with the Bears, and then he was on the Steelers last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his year with the Bears, they never had an O-line. So he was always running for his life on top of that. And he never had as much time, plus the proper offense and structure to develop with his game to learn it. So they weren't that good. Then when they would have times where they would win, it was just because he was just running the ball and throwing deep plays, and he had to be like running for like 100 yards and like passing for like 250 yards. And if not, the Bears weren't winning. You go to Pittsburgh now, right? You go to Pittsburgh. You're at Pittsburgh there. You with Russell Wilson himself, right? And they had another quarterback there. I forgot who I wrote there. But
Mason Randolph.
Right. So now you in this situation, you still gotta learn and develop and gather certain things too. So he had 1 year in the Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin, where that is actually a great coach, and he probably got a great understanding. And Tomlin is not necessarily known just for making the quarterback great per se, but Tomlin is a great football coach, right? So hopefully he takes some knowledge, and now he's with it on the Jets. This is all they got to do and this is the big test. Aaron Glenn's a first-time coach. God bless him. Great Jet player. And I believe and I think everything is going to be right for him eventually. I like the vision that Modi he's coming with. But now you're going to have to wrap the right quarterback guys around because as much as you want Fields to run out and make plays and do things and scramble and throw downfield, you also want him to sit in that pocket and become a quarterback and be able to read defense and so on and so forth. He's still young. Mm-hmm. He only got like 3-4 seasons in, so he got time to learn that. He's got to learn that on the fly, on the run. And I think the more time he has there to learn the offense and go through camp and do those things, he can develop a synergy to things. So I think he's actually a very good pickup for them. I think they got to steal as long as he don't throw those, make them turnovers. He does have a tendency sometimes to make some really bad plays.
Yeah, I mean nobody's perfect in the NFL, but nope. The turnover prone is something to think about when you're getting quarterbacks.
Correct.
It's at least something to think about. All right, that concludes this episode. Nothing But That Sports Talk. Thank you for stopping by, Ryan Walker. It's nice to be back doing Nothing But That Sports Talk again. It's Orange and Blue Skies all the time as the New York Knicks look to wrap up the series with the Boston Celtics. And if you want our thoughts on everything that happens, it's just literally a weekly or bi-weekly show. just tune into the next episode to see how everything plays out. And obviously, Ryan, you got your stuff going on, and I got stuff going on. So, yeah, we'll just keep on the wraps. For Ryan Walker, Rafique Louison, we'll see you next time. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nothing But That Sports Talk.
No Boston cream donuts.